Hello everyone, Nick here, and judging by the title, I am talking about Billy Mitchell again. And you might be thinking, well, what is the point of this video? Well, if you read the title, it's to talk about the article that Variety came out with. Now, yes, Tipster did his own video, and I'm not trying to take away from that. I just want to do my own personal thoughts about the situation, since everybody is open to interpretate anything they want freely and do whatever they want. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to, I believe his name is Meme Troll something, but he made a video talking about the panel in depthly, more so probably than this article. I think he did a great job. I'll leave a link in the description below and probably pin my own personal comment with the links to Tipster's video and Meme Troll's video. So anyway, let's begin. So it says, disgraced Donkey Kong champ Billy Mitchell's redemption is a sloppy soliloquy. The arcade legend finally explains himself, and we're left more questions than ever. And I agree. I don't actually think this is as blown out as some people think it is. And even though Tipster says it's a little, I think, yes, they do kind of ham it up a bit, but to be upfront, when I actually watched the gaming panel, it actually made this look tame to me. I thought this article didn't even capture how bad Billy looked, and I'm kind of shocked how Billy didn't even think he looked bad. But anyway, let's move on. So he said, I was told not to do this, Billy Mitchell, Saturday, June 9th, 2018. Billy Mitchell is the best at what he does. You might know him as one of the most famous players of video games in the world. In 2007, he featured prominently in the documentary King Kong Fistful of Quarters about the world of competitive arcade players who chase high scores. In the film, an unknown upstart named Steve Wiebe takes him on, turning Mitchell's into the de facto villain. Yeah, that's true. In the decade since, even as his scores fell off the top ranks, Mitchell's charismatic personality and lanky presence, most always seen him in his all-white suit and stars and stripes necktie, have dominated a certain corner of retro gaming culture. Yeah. But what is he really talking? What he's really good at is talking. This past Saturday night in the Marriott Renaissance Waverly Hotel outside of Atlanta, during a panel of the Southern Fried Gaming Expo, Billy Mitchell spoke into a microphone for over an hour, standing in front of standing room only crowd in his first stop on what he's called Road to Redemption. More like Road of Deflection. I'm sorry. It was really a bad panel. He was there to explain himself in the wake of a controversy that his world scores, including the first ever million, were falsified in Donkey Kong. And Tipster is 100% right. Billy Mitchell and even his best friend Triforce is known for ranting on for hours of time and basically not saying anything of real merit or value, and basically will talk in order to milk the situation for money, for views, and they won't really do anything that adds to the situation. And this article is 100% right, because after that panel, I was scratching my head asking more questions than answers. Because another thing that the article, I'm not sure if it does tackle, but they talk about Todd Rogers. Billy Mitchell talks about Todd Rogers. And I was just like, why are you talking about Todd Rogers? Isn't this your road to redemption, not Todd Rogers' road to redemption? I mean, it's like, if he wants to do his own thing, that's fine. But you shouldn't be trying to save your other friend who's being burned at the stake for his scores because he needs to vouch for himself. That didn't make any sense to me. So, keep going down. Earlier this year, a forum moderator named Jeremy Young posted evidence claiming that Mitchell was not playing on arcade hardware, but on MAME, an emulator that could potentially be tampered with, making it admissible after considering Young's dispute. Guinness broke world records, and Twin Galaxies stripped Mitchell of his scores. Mainstream outlets such as this one reported the story. I mean, they make it seem like it was very, but it didn't happen that fast. It took probably years. I think people disputed this 4 years about his, not 4 years specifically, but for many years, I mean. And if you remember Apollo Legend's video, Apollo Legend clearly talks about how he compiles all of the data and he basically presents it as to why. And I think that was really the straw that broke the camel's back, personally, because I think that basically went it on. There is a link to the video for the actual panel if you want to watch it. I will warn you, if you watch that panel video, just be prepared for a lot of lip smacking. He doesn't seem to know how to speak into the microphone properly. There's a lot of, and I warned that in my other video where I talked about the paper he shows. So, yeah, if you want to watch his video, you can go ahead. It's online. If you just type in Southern Fried Gaming Panel Billy Mitchell, you'll probably find it. Mitchell tells the crowd of nearly 150 people to be bold. You're here, he says. Don't leave and say something silly. Ask me anything. At this point, a man in the front raises his hand. Mitchell continues to talk. The man slowly lowers his hand. Yeah, I just feel like Mitchell was bluffing. Like, he was like, oh, ask me anything. And then he just rants for, like, an entire hour. So what was the point of him trying to even, like, provoke the audience to ask questions when they couldn't even ask a question? The panel includes would-be interviewer Bobby Blackwolf, broadcast editor of VOG magazine. He sits silently next to Billy for 55 minutes, and I don't blame him. You don't suggest chess moves to Gary Kasparov. You don't give consuming evidence to Idiot. Billy is talking, so you let him talk. I mean, Billy is an adult like everyone else, and adults can make their own decisions. However, if Billy wants to make a dumb decision where he basically makes himself look worse, then that's what he did. So, I don't believe in journalism. That is why he doesn't do interviews. I challenge any of you. Raise your hand and tell me the last interview I did. You can't. Actually, I can. He did an interview and it was on YouTube. Eastside Dave's show was one of them, and then there was another one he did with Empire, and then it's like, hello, I can actually point to your interview. By the way, the Eastside Dave show interview was really embarrassing. So Apollo Legend talked about it in his video, and I think he discussed enough of what it was. It was just a lot of brown nosing to the point of just disgustingness. So. Yeah, so when he does agree to answer questions, watch out. You're in for a ride, he tells Black Wolf. Looking directly at him, he says this at 7:16. Black Wolf will not get another word in until 7:15, when during a rare pause in Mitchell's diatribe. So before Mitchell rolls on, Black Wolf will not say a full sentence until 7:56, after the fifth mention of sabotage. When he continues his previous thought about a salient question, so why should we believe what you're saying? And yeah, like, he doesn't get much word in. I think the pornography and the sabotage, I just think that was just him, an excuse to rally up for sympathy. And I think Tipster, he's a great guy. I really like Tipster, but I think he probably should not have given Mitchell the benefit of the doubt, because knowing how Mitchell is, Mitchell will probably try to find any excuse that he can to defend himself, and even though I agree, I don't think that anyone should have their family attacked, while that family as a shield to basically be like, don't talk about my family, but, you know, during a panel about Donkey Kong, it's like, if you had a panel about Donkey Kong, talk about Donkey Kong. Do not talk about your family. Your family has no jurisdiction over it. If you want to resolve that situation with whatever your wife's doing on Twitter or the harassment and whatever, that has to be done separately. That has no bearing on your Donkey Kong scores. It's not like anyone from Twin Galaxies is like, we have to take it easy on you because your family is getting attacked. I don't think that's what they're thinking, Billy Mitchell. So, more than setting high scores, Mitchell has become adept at telling stories about his record-setting performances. He doesn't play these games very often anymore, especially in public. A reporter working on a profile for Oxford American in 2006 asked him to play Miss Pac-Man at the Florida restaurant he owns and operates. A waitress raced over to watch. She'd never seen him play in all of her 9 years of her job. That night would be another where he talked more, played less. This night. He says he came prepared to play Donkey Kong skills and show off his skills, but alas, he didn't bring a machine, and he shrugged his shoulders. Part of the redemption will come down the line, but for now, he names years and he names years. I'm confused at that. What do you mean by names years variety? Okay, I guess it's like one grammatical issue. Names years. And talks about videotapes. And, I mean, I guess naming the years that these things happened? I think that could have been probably certain years in their respective high scores, unidentified to your lay person reporter, merit hoots and hollers from the crowd. A master storyteller knows his audience. He also knows his naysayers. They're jealous crybaby, Mitchell says, who want to be worshipped behind their keyboards. Certain parties have been targeting Mitchell and his outlets for years. I've been called a threat, and I know that. He knew eventually someone is going to be painting a picture. This is guilty and proven innocent, he says. So what I think is really sad about the whole situation is, so Billy Mitchell cheated, and all of his scores and things have been taken away. And what Meme Troll, his last comment in his video, was, when did you find that video games would be more of a manipulative tool to, like, drive up your own businesses? And I agree with what Meme Troll's question is about, because when you really look at this, it's like he used video games as a stepping stone to basically advertise himself. And that's really sad because, you know, those accolades that someone could have had could have gone to someone who actually really earned it. Like Steve Wiebe, which, you know, thank God he finally got his... Steve Wiebe got his redemption, not Mitchell, thank God. But yeah, Wiebe got his redemption, and Wiebe definitely deserved to have his own redemption. It's just sad that it had to come 10 years. Better late than never, but yeah. He holds up the stack of printed sheets again. You can look right here, how the new owners sabotage. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. Like, I looked at the papers. Catherine DeSpear screenshot them. I zoomed in close, and I saw nothing of Twin Galaxies. So basically, from what I can say, from what it looks like, is Billy Mitchell is butthurt about the new owner and hates that Walter Day had to probably leave. And because he left, he couldn't have his reign over just, you know, money. He couldn't make it rain. So because of that, he basically lost his influence, and that's why he's claiming, oh, well, Twin Galaxies is against me because they don't accept my money. It's like, really, dude? It's like, you can't pay for everything you want. So, yeah, create fabricated meme footage. It could be linked to him there, boy, setting up his great fall. But Billy Mitchell's not deterred. He's too much to give up now. I'm like a Formula 1 race car, he says. My job is to drive. Someone else does everything else. His suit is too white to become besmirched with the taint of wrongdoing. His necktie is too patriotic to be ripped asunder, only to be float down like an eagle's molted feathers. His hyperbolic talent is contagious. Yeah, this was embarrassing. He shares a saying his father once told him. Once you're young, he starts looking out the crowd, 40-somethings. You're like going to the carnival, going on rides. At a certain age, you like to watch your kids go to the rides. Yeah. He prefers watching all of us, he says. In that moment, we feel kind of collective grace. Then segues briskly into a story involving the FBI, son. Talks about the pornography, the 10-year-old girl. Backroom cabal, he says, orchestrated his downfall. Yeah. I mean, he talks about how his family, they shouldn't come after his family. And yes, fine, they shouldn't come after his family. That is true. But the fact that he uses this as a shield and he uses his family as a defense mechanism just really screams sad. I just really wanted to not have to watch that during his panel video, and it just made it more insulting. It says the room is semi-stunned, but waiting for revelation for what happens next, like a cabinet on attract mode, awaiting its next quarter. Now it's a good time to ask a question. At the moment of pornography and pedophilia, Black Wolf's face scrunches up the shape of the appropriate punctuation. Alas, a shark must move in to live. Mitchell just keeps talking. Yep. So, the P-word bombshell mercifully interrupts the video game player of the century. The important. We're out of time. Mitchell looks at the organizers. What's more, you're looking at the case. We're on the tight scale. Only later will I look at the events page. Only later I look at the events page, and there's no other panel scheduled in that room after. Sometimes with a live grenade, you run away. Sometimes you jump on it. Sometimes you let it explode. Yeah, I would say this grenade was definitely a dud, and it was just used as a defense mechanism. That's basically the grenade that they were talking about. So had Billy said this confusing metaphor, I would have nodded in agreement. He had me and everyone under his spell. Okay, one last thing he said, and that sat for 10 more minutes. That was the end should have expected. The panel was less than an explosion than an hour-long seeding of odorless gas, waterlogged dynamite. Yeah, it was as bad as Variety says it was, and I'm not even going to disagree with Variety. The man maintains his innocence, and he'll still prove the necessary chops. Those who scheme to bring him down have only made him stronger. He's booked at events across the country. Right, I'll do the same score on Donkey Kong. So, yeah. But why wouldn't you get a higher score, he asks himself. I don't have to, I'm Billy Mitchell. I mean, that was the dumbest response you could say to this whole thing. And I think everyone can agree how stupid it was. In response, based on Pavlovian instinct and pure momentum, the crowd cheers. That's a dumb crowd. And, yeah, I remember watching that part. And I just thought to myself, this was stupid. As I leave the room, appropriately named Chancellor, I overhear the camera operator. The old equipment just say, this is the most valuable camera in the round. The last thing I see is an audience member standing next to Mitchell, taking a selfie. Billy Mitchell is giving a thumbs up. Okay. Billy raises his thumb higher, then higher still, making sure his height is visibly within the frame. So yeah, that was the entire Variety article. It's like, yeah, that's the entire Variety article. So yeah, from my personal thoughts of reading the whole thing, and also not to mention watching the panel video. Like I warned you, if you want to watch the panel video, you're more than welcome to. But do get ready, because it is like an hour-long drag, and it's basically just a Billy Mitchell circle jerk. It's just really painfully bad. I feel sorry for the people that gave him time to do this panel. I mean, I've been on panels before at other conventions, and I'll admit, I probably could do better on certain panels that I've had in the past. However, that being said, at least I was courteous and respectful to my audience. I don't think Mitchell was respectful to his audience at all. he was just very, like, glaring, and mean, and snarky, and nasty, and just awful. I mean, like, I could name other people. I mean, I won't name names of people who I think have had bad panels in the past. Personally, Blue Jacket comes to mind about doing a YouTuber panel. That was pretty atrociously bad. And then don't even get me started on an Amiibo panel. But again, I think Mitchell's was even worse because it was just him ranting on for like an hour. And it's like, what was the point of this? What was the point of him ranting on for an hour? What did we gain from this? And like Variety has aptly said, left with more questions than ever. And that is 100% correct, because if anything, I think he incriminated himself more than helped himself. And it's funny when he says, I was told not to do this, because I'm sure the guy who told him that knew Billy Mitchell personally and knows that Mitchell is just bad at trying to articulate. He is very good at talking about nothing, but he's very bad at articulation. And because of his poor articulation, it really just hurt his overall explanation of everything. I mean, I can go into way more detail, but I don't want to make my video over 40 minutes long. I mean, I would spend, like, probably a while nitpicking everything. I think Meme Troll did a very good job. I'll leave a link with his video in the description, and I'll pin it in the comments section. I'll pin Tipster's video. I'll even pin the actual video for the panel. But like I warned you, the panel video is over an hour long. It's about like an hour or 15 minutes. And it's just nauseating. It's very bloated. It's very bad. And you just watch it for so long, and you're like waiting for him to get to the point. And it's like the best analogy I can come up with Billy Mitchell's panel. It's like when senators or like lobbyists are trying to pass bills, and someone doesn't want a bill to get passed, so they'll filibuster for like a complete hour. And this is what Mitchell was basically doing. He was filibustering to basically fill up the panel space, but nothing really important was asked. Nothing was answered, and you know, even if he did accomplish a higher score in Donkey Kong Live, and he did it on official hardware, and he did it officially, it really wouldn't redeem his past scores. It would just redeem the fact that he proves that he's a good Donkey Kong player. And that's really what it comes down to, is he just needs to prove that he can play Donkey Kong in public well, do a good job, and nothing more. If he just wants to keep being bloated, giving long filibusters of just horrible run-on sentences and non-sequiturs and just really painfully nauseating statements, yeah, that's what he accomplished. So I hope my video tried to tie some loose ends for you. Unfortunately, knowing how Billy Mitchell is, it probably won't, because he'll probably come back and say more stuff, and it's not going to be the end. And as long as it keeps going, I mean, I guess I can keep interjecting my own opinion. I'm more than welcome to. So, and I also have comments about some of the side characters, and one in particular, which you probably are well aware of, who tried to defend him and failed miserably. And unfortunately, I don't have the video editor that I want to use. I want to make a video that's a bit more higher end, like Apollo Legends, or even Meme Trolls, because they did a pretty good job with their editing. Even though it's not like the most advanced editing, at least it put the points together, and I really want to be able to talk it more in that kind of style than this way. But this is all I can do for now, so hopefully in the future I can do better in my videos. But this is all I can do for now, so hopefully in the next one, when I talk about Billy Mitchell and his accomplice, yeah, I'll talk about that shortly. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye!